One of my friends has actually been in a Sexy Jesus calendar, and but I'm not down that track.
Hey, podcast listener, you're about to discover insider tips, tricks, and secrets to making more sales and converting more prospects into customers with email marketing. For more information about the Email Marketing Podcast or the Autoresponder Guy, go to dropdeadcopy.com/podcast. Hey everybody, it's John McIntyre here, the Autoresponder Guy, and it's time for episode 4 of the Email Marketing Podcast, where we talk about the top tips, tricks, and secrets for making more sales and growing your revenue with email marketing. Today, I'll be talking to James Schramko about how he uses email to boost his traffic and his conversions. Now, James sends daily emails, and he does it differently to pretty much everyone else I've seen, including the other people I've interviewed. To get the show notes for this episode of the Email Marketing Podcast, go to dropdeadcopy.com/EP4. But first, before we get into that, let's talk some news. The Email Marketing Podcast has its first review. It's 5 stars, and it's from none other than John Dumas. John's the guy behind an awesome daily podcast called Entrepreneur on Fire. Check out his podcast at entrepreneuronfire.com. Now, here's what John's 5-star review says. John knows how to bring the heat. We have the same name, so it gets a little bit confusing. The Email Marketing Podcast has instantly entered my rotation of must-listens. John brings killer guests on and extracts killer content from them. Thanks, John, and keep it up. Thanks for the review, John. Keep rocking those podcasts. And yes, it's very confusing having John and John and John and John and John. Anyway, now, if you want to leave a review, go to dropdeadcopy.com/podcast. There's a link to the iTunes store. Click the link, get automatically sent to the iTunes page, leave your review, and I'll read it out on the next episode. Okay, anyway, let's get started. Let's go talk to James Schramko. It's John McIntyre here, the Autoresponder Guy with the Email Marketing Podcast. I'm here with James Schramko from superfastbusiness.com. I met James online on an online forum, and I interviewed him a while back for the McIntyre Method, product about autoresponders. And now we're back to talk again about email stuff. So now James teaches people how to build a successful online business using articles, videos, podcasts, and pretty much everything that you can do online. He has a number of products for pretty much anything in that area, which I'm sure we'll talk about in just a moment. So, James, how are you going today?
Good. How are you going, John?
Fantastic, always. Now let's start off. I know I gave you a bit of an introduction there, but I'm sure you can fill in some gaps. Tell us a bit. Who are you, and what do you do?
Right. So, like you said, we met in the Jelly Wrestling Forum, and hang on, no, different one, wasn't it? That's right. It was more of a marketing one. Sometimes I get confused. So I pretty much have an online business that focuses in 3 main areas. It is website development, traffic for those websites, and internet business, which is like a coaching and mastermind setup. So I help people drive those websites once they've got them up, because as we know, a website's not a business. And I came from a business background that set me up quite nicely to be able to translate the concepts that we're familiar with from normal business with retail stores and dealing with big brands and little brands and international markets and local markets, and to sort of make sense of it from an online perspective. And a lot of people are drawn into my business because they want help with that sort of stuff. I've been doing that for about 7 or 8 years now, and full-time for about 6 of those years. I'm coming up to my 6th anniversary from when I let my boss know that I no longer required his services.
Wow. Are you going to have a party?
Every year I just, well, yeah, of course. Quite the expert in that now. I do have I do contemplate how significant that was. It was such a change in life to be able to get away from that desk and then to start traveling more and expanding my horizons, so to speak, and learning a lot more about the rest of other cultures. And I think everyone would like to do that. A lot of people feel frustrated that it's eluding them. And I guess if I've got any message for people, it is worth paying the price to read a few extra books or listen to a few extra podcasts and implement the stuff you learn, because it is possible to do it.
Absolutely. It's one thing that I've learned recently is that it's just a choice. There's nothing sensational or super exceptional about it. You just have to make the choice, and then it's pretty simple from there. You can figure things out.
Yes, it is a choice, and it requires some action and doing certain things that some people aren't prepared to do. And I think people whittle away their time sitting on the couch watching television when they could be doing something productive.
Like email marketing.
Well, that it does require effort to do email marketing. However, there's a very sexy automation side to it, isn't there, where you can have things happening even when you're not there.
There is. The autoresponders, you could queue up a year's worth of emails, put some traffic on that list, and then go live in the jungle for a year, and you'd make sales all year.
Yeah, it is actually a possibility, and we know some people who have a similar approach to that.
Absolutely. So you do everything. You got email. You've got. I'm sure you're doing paid traffic. You do a lot of SEO. But since this is the email marketing podcast, let's talk about email specifically. And I know that you have a fairly unique way of doing things in the emails you send, how often you send them, and that kind of thing. So tell us a little bit about the James Schramko email strategy.
Well, I've got a fundamental rule. My golden rule is that someone must be better off for opening the email. So for that reason, there's always some value attached to my emails. And there's always a purpose or a reason for the email that will benefit the recipient of it. So that sort of rules out, the people, they sort of put, I really value your inbox in their email, and then they send you 27 affiliate offers. It's like they don't actually subscribe to what they're telling you. So my way I value my email marketing above all the other traffic channels. It's fantastic. These are people who've selected to receive emails from me and who I'm able to build a relationship with. So I really value it highly. For that reason, I just use it to let them know when there's something for them. It's as simple as that. It could be some information on a topic that they've expressed an interest in. It could be a follow-up to a service or a product that they've purchased from me that explains more how to use it, or what else we're doing for them, or what else we have that they could also benefit from. Or it could be a response to an action they've taken. And I use a lot of triggers in my email sequences and my marketing where an email will be sent if something happens. It's like an if this, then that rule. And I love those things. I think they're really awesome.
Okay, so it sounds like you don't do much direct selling via email. You use it primarily as a relationship building tool.
Primarily, I use it to get people to my site where I'm doing a lot of value content-based selling. I'm always selling. However, it would be rare that I send an email with the sales letter in the email, but I do that maybe once every 6 months, and it's highly, highly effective when I do that. However, it's not my standard operating procedure.
Okay. So give us some examples. What are you actually saying in these emails? What are you sending them?
Usually I'll just have a small story. So I might say, firstly, it'll go to a specific segment. So I'm really thinking about who's receiving this. If I have a website customer who buys websites from me, then I would send them an email with a story about, hey, imagine if your traffic to your website halved. That would kind of suck. And one of the first things you could do in that situation is to really improve your conversions, to try and double it, because the average website might sell a couple of percent, 2 or 3% of the visitors. Yeah. And it's not that hard to lift conversions up to 4 or 5%. So that's one of the first things you could do if your traffic halved. And then I turn the email around to say, well, recently one of my websites actually increased in traffic, and it went up like nearly 50%. And in that 6-month period, my conversions went up almost 500%. And then I'll attach proof. I'll say, have a look at this. And it's a screenshot from my analytics. And it'll be like a 400 and something percent improvement. And then I go on to say, look, I actually made a video to see if I can help you improve your conversions for your website. So it's very relevant. It's all about website conversions, and it's got then a screenshot of the video that is on the page that they will click to. So I will link to the blog post in the text, I'll link the images to the blog post, and then the final call to action might be, look, go and watch the video here. And that will lead them to a page that has the exact same video that they saw in the email. And that video will be a video about some things that you can do to help your conversions, and it will also let them know that we can do it for them if they'd like. And then that will link to the exact product that we have that will improve their conversions and us do it for them.
Okay. So you're doing some really, I guess it's advanced, but it's also just very well thought out in the sense that you're starting with someone gets the website, joins the list, and then you're going to send them an email, and each email tries to get them back to the website. So they watch a video and consume some sort of content that can get value out of it. And then you have a relevant offer, because you have, I guess you must have 10 or 20 different products that you sell to them. So then you can attach a relevant offer to every single video that you have.
Yeah, most of my customers can buy most of my products, which is, I call it the chocolate wheel. But it's very, very powerful, because I end up, and I was just looking at last month's stats, and this might be, it might be interesting to your listeners, but I had over 95% repeat customers last month, so in the last 30 days. And I do this without affiliates. I do it without promotions. I do it without joint ventures. I do it without launches. And I didn't actually do paid traffic last month. I just do it through organic growth of my content marketing and list marketing. In fact, in that 30-day period, I sent over 200,000 emails.
And you're sending daily emails, aren't you?
Pretty much every day. So I've got a pretty small list, relatively speaking. I think there's about 22,500 people in my Office Autopilot account, and I'm sending a couple of 100,000 emails a month. In fact, over the last 12 months, I sent 1.6 million emails, and I made far more than that in dollars. So I actually literally make more than $1 for every email that I send.
That's good to know. That's really cool. So you can send an email and go, there's this many people on the list. I'm sending out this email. Therefore, I'm going to make this amount of money from this email. Well,
I don't actually calculate that. I don't really, predict that far in advance. But what I can be certain of is if I do send out an email about conversions and send people to the package, that of the people who get that email, it might only be 2,500 people who have purchased a website or similar service, that a percentage of those will open, probably a pretty high percent, and half of those people will probably click through and watch the video, and then some of those people will actually go and order the package, which from memory is about $400. And I know that we will make sales the next day from when I send that email, and mostly for the next week, because, as you know, people's inboxes are quite full. They don't throw mine out. They don't unsubscribe, and they don't complain, but they might sit on it for a few days till they actually get to it on the weekend or something.
Okay. Now, so you're a content machine. You're having content that comes out, is it 5 days a week or 7 days a week?
7 days a week. I create content every single day.
Okay.
And so in an average week, I will put out 5 or 6 video blog posts. All of those will have the podcast. I'll put out a weekly summary, and then I'll put out 2 separate podcasts for my other podcasts. And all of those will get an email. However, not everyone is on the master list. So some people might only be on one podcast, or they might only be on a traffic list, or they might only be in a business list. And then if they're part of my business communities, I also make a private video for each of my 2 business communities. So only those people get them. In one of them, there's about 30 odd people, and the other one, there's about 700 people, and only those people get that video.
Okay, so you really have, you set it up so you have a reason to be in these people's inboxes every single day, because you can say, I have something new to share with you.
Exactly. And a lot of my pieces of content are very short. They might be 1 minute or 2 minutes. So they're not onerous. And then my main podcasts, that's like a 40-minute episode once a week, and people just demolish that.
Okay. But so one thing that I think is very interesting, because I've switched to daily emails recently, and I've been telling other people to do the same. And I think one of the biggest barriers that most people have is, what do they write about? And everyone has a different way of doing it. I've spoken to Ben Settle and John McCulloch and some other guys, and they have their own way of telling stories and things like that. But you have your own way of doing things. So how do you come up with content that you can create every single day? How do you not run out of ideas?
I've got enough ideas for the next 10 years. So if you ever need a few, just drop a line.
Drop your line.
Seriously, I could give you 10 different ways to find ideas. One is I actually have a note thing on my iPhone that says, make this video. And whenever I think of something, I just jot it down. For example, about 3 weeks ago, I was going away. So I thought I might make a couple of videos just to put on my hard drive, my little portable flash drive, as backup in case I just feel tired. Or, when you travel, it sometimes sucks your energy. And I made 12 videos in just a few hours, 12 in a row. I did a 3-part profit booster series. I did all sorts of tips. I can literally dig into my mastermind notes from every week and pull out. I will have had 30 business owners telling me their deepest, darkest problems every week for about 5 hours. And I actually make notes on every single person, what they said, what I told them to do. Each one of those could be a video. So I could make 30 videos from that. And then there's my forum. I've got 700 members posting questions every single day. So I can simply just sort by thread and find the most discussed topics. Then I could head over to my help desk where at any 1 minute there's over 500 support tickets, and that's with ongoing jobs, recurring jobs, or people coming to the website, hitting a live chat question, leave a message, and then they ask a question. Can I be a white label reseller of your products? Do you offer this service? How would I best use this? How does James use Office Autopilot? All these questions. And I just simply take the frequently asked questions from my help desk and I have my team compile them. I say to the team, what do people keep asking us? And they send me a little Google Doc and it says the top 100 questions we get asked. So there's 100 pieces of content I could make. And I just answer them, one topic per video. And you can just stick a how-to in front of it, and you've got something that's useful for your customers.
Right. What I love about that is that it's 100% driven by real problems that people have, not you sitting away in some dark room brainstorming stuff. It's you going out there and finding out what do people want.
No, and I'm instant. I like to utilize. I think they call it that from acting or whatever. I was sitting here yesterday at about this time. And I got an email from Amazon, and it was for a Zoom H4n audio recorder.
Okay.
And I'm like, wow, that is tricky. And the reason it was tricky is I happen to have one of those. And my friend was asking me, hey, dude, is this the Zoom that you were talking about? And he sent me a link in Skype to the product on Amazon. I clicked on the link, went to Amazon, and they've obviously tracked me by cookie. Because I buy Kindles, like every day or two, I probably buy a Kindle. And then they've then stored that information. They've gone and checked a few days later. Has James purchased a Zoom H4n yet? No. Okay, we better send him a little email. So they send me this email, are you interested in the Zoom H4? So they're all over me. Now, I actually recognize it because I do the same thing all over my stuff. That's one of my favorite ways to communicate with people by email because they've taken an action that tells me clearly that they're interested in something. And using my database of people who visit me over and over and over again, I can actually tell that they haven't or they have purchased, and then I can follow them up accordingly.
Okay, so you're doing a lot of advanced segmenting there based on figuring out what people want and then sending them emails based on what they want.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Who would have thought? So, one thing that seems really obvious here is it seems like you don't really care about open rates or click-throughs. What you care about is constantly churning out content, more and more and more content, and not so much fussed over the little stats like open rates, but your overall trend of the business.
Well, I just want to be relevant. I just want to solve problems. So I do care about unsubscribes and complaints, but I just don't get them. And my list grows every single month organically from my opt-ins on my site. I'm not getting people giving me heat or abusing me for sending too many emails. They were my worst fears. And the thing is, I'm more likely to get someone email me and say, hey, have you taken me off the list because I haven't received an email from you for a week or so? And, what what's happening. And like, they literally do that.
Wow.
And I also get a lot of replies to my emails, and that gives you fuel for the next one. So I'll actually have comments on my posts or an email reply with a further question that I maybe didn't cover in the first video, and then I'll just make a follow-up. Like one of my classics was the guy who I put out a video about the equipment I'm using, and this guy complained. He said, "You got to stop wearing $2 shirts and you should shave." And so I took his comment and made another video out of it, and I called it "Should You Shave?" And what should I wear? And I put me in a nice shaved shirt, and I put me in just a t-shirt, and then I had a little sort of cutaway shot of me nude, like in between, like not sure what I should wear. And it had like 300 comments. It just went ballistic. But people want to be entertained. They want something fun, and they look forward to opening emails like that. They want to express an opinion. And it was really helpful to me. And as a result of that, I now have a lovely collection of about 12 polo shirts that are apparently kind of acceptable. They still say sporty and wealthy, but they're not a tie. It's not dressing up for the camera. It's just a nice sort of in between. And I do shave more often.
How often? Like once a year, right?
No, I'm not going for the Jesus look or anything. Like a couple of our friends are. It seems I keep bumping into people. One of my friends has actually been in a sexy Jesus calendar, and
wow.
But I'm not down that track. I reckon I probably shave 2 or 3 times a week. And before, I would have shaved maybe once or twice a month. It was kind of like a resistance to corporate.
Okay. A Jesus calendar. That's
sexy Jesus calendar.
I didn't know Jesus was sexy.
It's all the rage. All the rage.
It's got to be. All right, man. Well, we're just coming up to time right about now. So this has been really cool. And all this talk about jelly wrestling is making me laugh. So let's finish up. Give yourself a plug. Talk about what you're selling, and tell people where they can find you and sign up to your list and start receiving those emails of yours.
Okay. Well, surely the easiest way to find out what I'm up to is to go and have a look at superfastbusiness.com. There's about 3,000 ways you can opt in. And by the way, I actually do track each one right down to the opt-in, so I know which one's better than the other ones. And there's in all seriousness, there's about 7 different ways. And I think I've learnt a lot about that. That's why I've had a 500% increase in my opt-ins, even with only a 50% increase in traffic over that 6-month period. And that is... It's important, how you get people to opt in, but go and have a look at what I'm doing. And the best thing is with my emails, you can hit reply and it'll come straight to me. So, hit reply and tell me how to improve. Tell me what would make it a better experience. Tell me if you think they're good or they suck. I'm interested in having that conversation. And that's the key, I think, to staying realistic with your audience and not overstepping the mark, because your good customers will be the first ones to tell you when you're pushing it. But luckily, they don't tell me that very often.
Fantastic, man. All right, James. That's at superfastbusiness.com, and I'll have that. I'll have the link in the show notes, so you can check out the millions of opt-ins there. And that's it for now. Thanks for coming on, James.
Thanks, John. Always a pleasure.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening. If you want to discover more insider tips, tricks, and secrets about driving sales with email marketing, sign up for daily email tips from the autoresponder guy. Go to dropdeadcopy.com/podcast. Sign up, confirm your email address, and I'll send you daily emails on how to improve your email marketing and make more sales via email. You'll find out why open rates don't matter, and the 7-letter word that underlies all effective marketing, and much more.